Welcome back, Portal Masters. SCL Matt back for take 2. You have to let me know. Did we fix anything? Did it get any better? Did it get any worse? Hopefully it didn't get any worse. Shut a few things down, ran some updates. I don't know. Maybe it's just one of those days. My internet seems to be working. I don't know what else to do. Like, this is the same internet I've been using for the past, well, how long have we been at this house? 6, 7 years, something like that. Internet really hasn't changed. I've updated my router in that time, so if anything, it should have gotten better, I would think. But let me know. Let me know. Is it really just as bad? I hope not. But time will tell. All right. I should have written. There was a question or two right at the end of that. Hopefully, people have come back in, and you'll have to let me know if you have questions again, because I don't remember what we were talking about. But yeah, like I said, I don't really have a plan for today. Just kind of generic chat with Matt session. And we'll take whatever questions or I was looking at the new StreamYard, the software I use they're always updating stuff. And they added some new, whoa. All the comments just popped in at once. I was wondering why I wasn't seeing comments. Okay, hold up. If possible, definitely have some leftover messages from the last live chat. Yeah. I thought there were. This is much better. It's better. Awesome. We win. Take that, internet. CH Dragon, welcome from Canada or from the US. Been playing since you're 5. Nice. So yeah, which battle mode are we doing first? That is a question. As smooth as the surface of a yawn track. We need more of those, like Skylanders centric sayings and phrases like that. Like, yeah, night and day difference. Awesome. Well, I'm glad that fixed it. I was just super confused why I wasn't seeing any comments from anybody, even though it said there were like 20 people watching. But yeah, apparently the comments were delayed for me. That was weird. All right. Doing battle mode with random Skylanders. I mean, that would probably even it up a bit. Who's the best looking Skylander from all series aesthetically? So the one character that I've always loved the look of that I don't necessarily enjoy in game is Double Trouble. So he might win for me for best looking. Just got some in and out. Pirate Dad, I hate to say it, but in and out is overrated. Like, kudos to their marketing team, however that got started, but honestly, in and out is overrated. Tom, how you doing? Glad to have you. Has anyone ever tried to scam you? Yes. Yes, they have. It thankfully it's very, very rare, but it does happen from time to time. Um, there have been some sketchy situations. Some I have lost a little bit of money in some cases. Um, but it's fairly minor. But there's a reason why I do the things I do the way I do them nowadays. And like it's either, I pay you with PayPal goods and services, so I'm protected by PayPal, or ooh, now we're getting Amazon packages. Except I don't think I ordered anything. Must have been my wife. Um, or I'll pay via PayPal friends and family, but not until I receive the package. So like that kind of covers my butt that way. Um, got a sweet X-Men t-shirt. Nice. I like the X-Men. And here we start up with those questions again. So this back here, I'm not talking about today. It will be coming in the next road trip video, which I believe is coming out next Saturday. So you'll just have to wait and see. I'll explain a lot more in that video. Kill 2 breezes with 1 rocky roll. I like where you're going with that, but that's a little bit clunky. Like we need to refine that a little bit. Would you buy a Happy Birthday band for 10K? Maybe. What counts as unique Skylander to be added towards the list of 603 figures? This honestly is probably a video in and of itself, and we've talked about making this video because I know that that's a question we get from time to time. And that is yeah, I like there are a number of factors that play into it. And I agree with the criteria was kind of developed by a few portal masters who were very into creating this list. And they explained it all to me. And I'm like, okay, I can agree with that. I can get on board with that. And so I've been using that number ever since. Um, but yeah, I should go through and explain at some point. Today's not that day, but um, explain what goes into that. I'm a Starcast fan. He's always in my top 2 for Imaginators. Starcast and Hoodsickle. Those dark guys. It is overrated, but they still make a good burger. That's fair. Yeah, I mean it's not bad. I just think yeah, it's definitely overrated. How many times have I been to Canada? Once. And I walked there. The Skylanders guessing challenge was really good. Raptured, thank you. The feedback that we got on that video has been overwhelming and phenomenal. Like I haven't really heard any bad comments on it. Um, so I appreciate that you guys enjoyed it. I'm a little bit bummed that I didn't get a proper thumbnail out in time for it, and I think that kind of killed the reach of that video in particular. Like it's a little hard to tell that like, hey, this is Skylanders related, and hey, this is a game, and what exactly is going on with it. Um, unless you specifically just like read the title, but you got the picture has to catch your eye before you even take the time to read the title most of the time. So, um, that is, I'm glad people like it. There will be more coming for sure because we had a lot of fun making it. Should add LED lights to display. I mean, I could. I mean, it'd make for a cool glow effect back there, but I mean, it's not like the stuff back there is intentionally not in focus right now. So adding lights would just mean there's blurry lights back there. Favorite Skylander from Swap Force? I mean, Rattleshake is my favorite swapper overall, and probably my favorite from the entire game. If we're going like favorite core Skylander from Swap Force, can I say Camo? Or if you just if you only include the new characters, oh, no, oof. I have three close ones. It's either Punk Shock, Roller Brawl, or Bumble Blast. Man, I'd probably go with Punk Shock out of those three. Yeah, I think I'd go with Punk Shock. She's so good. Seth, thought about this. Don't often find myself playing the racing mode in Superchargers and Imaginators. The one time I did, it was not too bad. Do you play those modes? So I don't really play in Imaginators. I did when Superchargers came out. I played it a lot, and it was okay. It was okay. It like I wanted it to feel like Mario Kart, and it just wasn't that refined, unfortunately. Um, like it felt like they were trying to get to that level, but because it was like a secondary mode in the game and it wasn't built as a racing game, it just felt like they didn't have the time and energy and manpower to really get it back to where it needed to be, right? And it it was just like, "Oh, okay, we're gonna make a game with vehicles. We should absolutely make racing a part of it." And it just it almost needed to be two separate games. Like, wouldn't that have been something if they just released Superchargers in October and then came out in April and said, "Hey, we got a surprise for you. Here's a secondary game, Superchargers Racing." And it was a completely fleshed out, um, and they had taken the time to just focus on the racing aspect of everything and get that down and really refine that. Um, like that would have been amazing, I think. But yeah, it was just a secondary mode that they slapped on because they had vehicles. At least that's how it feels to me. Maybe they thought they did better with it. Maybe they did actually spend more time with it than I'm giving them credit for, but I don't think it quite got to that level. What is Happy Birthday, Ben? So Moosey Goosey. So Happy Birthday, Ben Starcast is a variant of Starcast that it has a green base and the figure is all in red, white, and blue. Um, it was a figure that was not sold in stores. It was basically commissioned by Tom Brady, the quarterback for the New England Patriots at the time. Um, he he was friends with Bobby Kotick, the CEO of Activision at the time, and his son Ben, Tom's son Ben, was a big fan of Skylanders. And so for his birthday, he got this figure made, and on the box, it's a special box that is covered in balloons and confetti and stuff, and it says "Happy Birthday, Ben" on that box because it was intended for that birthday party. Like that's the only place it was really distributed. Some Activision employees got their hands on some of the figures, but the bulk of the figures went to Tom and that birthday party. And now we refer to it as Happy Birthday Ben or Happy Birthday Ben Starcast or HBB Starcast or however you want to call it. But yeah, that's what it is. And so the figure itself, with the green base, is supposed to kind of resemble the football field. And then, like I said, he played for the Patriots. Their colors red, white, and blue, and so that's why the character is all in red, white, and blue on the green field. So it's kind of a figure that's made to look like Tom, if you will, except Tom doesn't have 4 arms. I always forget how old you are, Matt. To me, you look like you're in your late 20s, early 30s. Well, I appreciate that because I'm definitely older than that. Um, I I would love to be able to pass for my late 20s, early 30s. I'll take that. That's a compliment. Do you have Spyro's Adventure for the Wii U? I do not personally. We have gotten it before and sold it before in auction, but no, I do not have that in my collection. I think for it to be a 603 had to be made with intention, not different, so different. Oh, yeah. Yep, that all plays into it for sure. How does someone walk to Canada? So up in Niagara Falls, or well, up in Niagara, there is a bridge. Is it, someone correct me on this if I'm wrong. Is it the Rainbow Bridge? Um, it might be the Rainbow Bridge, or maybe that's the next bridge over. One of the bridges there up in Niagara, there is a pedestrian footpath across the bridge. And so you can legitimately just like park on the US side and walk across the bridge. You still have to go through customs and everything. But instead of driving your car across the bridge, you walk across the bridge. So, yeah, I walked to Canada. We spent the day over in Canada on foot without a car, and then walked back at night and drove home, or well, drove back to our hotel. I don't live in New York. Da, 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 da. Guess that video got good reception. It was an amazing video. Awesome. Alpha. I'm glad you liked it too. It like the people that watched it loved the video. The problem is YouTube didn't shove it out to everybody and not everybody clicked on it. Like it doesn't have a good click-through rate and it doesn't have a ton of views on it compared to like my hunting videos or the collection video we just put out. Because those were more obviously like, hey, this is Skylanders. Come check us out. So we'll get there. And I think as we make more of those videos, people will realize what we're doing and maybe click on some of the older ones as well. Yeah, RDL, it can be confusing for sure. And honestly, some of it comes down to just like what you want to collect. And that's why I always try to emphasize like I can't tell you what to collect. Like personally, I am collecting the 603 that we have on this list. Like that is my collection. That is the goal for my collection. But that might not be your goal. And what you want to collect is up to you. And I can't tell you what to collect. But like I said, yeah, like the purple lip chill is not on that list. Like chill is on that list. I have chill in my collection. Yes, I do have a purple lip chill over there on the shelf. But that doesn't actually count towards the 603. And that's what I go through in like, so I put out the collection video that shows like what I have from the 603. And then the following week we put up the, the weird stuff in my collection that covers everything that's not in the 603. And so um that covers things like Purple Lip Chill and the Pink Hat Fling Kong and the legendary Light Cord Chill in the Easter box from the UK or Europe. Um, like none of those things technically count towards the 603, but I do still have some of them in my collection. So favorite SSA magic item. Oof. Oof. It's a good question. I always forget to use them. And so honestly, it might be the healing elixir because that's probably the one I use the most. It feels like it's the most practical. While I do like aids that go around killing bad guys for me, because like I said earlier, I like minions. Like I like Deputy Snake and the little Rubble Rouser minions that wander around for you, and Shortcut has some minions as well. Like that's the reason those are some of my favorite characters. And SSA, like the magic items, many of them are kind of like the ghost swords kind of float around and then attack bad guys. So like that is kind of goes into my play style for sure. But the healing elixir, it's just so useful. The time twister can be fun too. Favorite core from Giants, SSA, and Trap Team. Oh, because we already covered Swap Force. So SSA is gonna be Camo. I mean, he's my guy. If you go Giants, I mean, once again, like if we're just going with the new characters from that game, which there's not that many. But no, hands down, Flashwing. Flashwing is my favorite out of those. Trap Team Core. Who do I like? Trap Team Core. There's one. There's two. It's probably either Cobra Kadabra or Fling Kong. I think would be my top two out of Trap Team. I do like Rocky Roll, and I do like Fist Bump. I think Fist Bump is underrated, but I think Fling Kong and Cobra Kadabra are still a level above those two. So have to go there. I know a lot of people like Scratch. She's not for me though. Is your E3 Spyro Insider Protector? Just look that way. Yeah, no. My wife actually just did that. Yes, my E3 Spyro is in a protector right now. I have to decide if I want to keep it there. Your trigger happy doesn't fit? Why does it not fit? It should fit. Or hold on. Hold on. Like, is it the corners that don't quite fit for you? Like the top corners? Because like the top corners of my box are bent. And so that might be why it actually fits in here. Because now I'm curious. Because yeah, like it definitely fits without like hurting anything. But like this corner is bent forward and this corner is bent backwards. And so I'm wondering if that gives it just enough clearance there. Otherwise, I don't know why it wouldn't fit. Like height wise is fine. Like we even have this little cushion down here because they have the little lip on the bottom of those packages. But yeah, we did end up putting it in a sleeve. It definitely is a side. Yeah, exactly. I'm just saying they could have. They didn't. I mean, superchargers racing is a thing. Like I get that. I get that. But I mean, it's just for the the 3DS and the Wii, and like that's okay. Once get but even that, I feel like they had a different team working on that, and I feel that the superchargers racing is almost better than the racing that's in the main game. Like, I don't know how much is copy and paste, they were able to actually port over, um, but yeah, it feels like that they were able to put a little more time into. Yeah, ketchup chips? Yep, we've tried them. They're weird. I love ketchup, man, but ketchup chips are weird. Um, yeah, Superchargers does have a good story for sure. DJ Digby, finally got your hands on all 3 yawn traps. Congratulations. That's a big get for sure. Why are the trap team games and portals so expensive on Xbox One? Yeah, so no, absolutely. So, this happened with so Xbox One and PS4 kind of fall into this similar category. Um, it's Swap Force and Trap Team for Xbox One and PS4. Those were the early days of those consoles, for one. And two, those consoles were not typically being used by the main audience for Skylanders. So Skylanders was marketed at 6 to 12-year-olds. And those players were typically playing on either Nintendo consoles or older consoles such as like PS3 or Xbox 360. Like the parents were still in charge of buying the video game systems at that point, and so they didn't always have the latest and greatest technology. And the whole reason Superchargers Racing exists for the Wii and even the 3DS is because those were the highest selling starter packs for Skylanders. The Wii uh, Skylanders for the Wii outsold every other console for basically the entire life of the thing. And that's why they kept creating games for it because it was a family console. The kids loved it, the parents loved it, and they just kept producing for it. And they didn't upgrade from that. So like they had a console, they had no need to upgrade. And so when new games came out, it's like, oh, we're just gonna buy it for the Wii, gonna buy it for the Wii. And basically, yeah. So around Swap Force Trap Team era, PS4 and Xbox One had just come out. And like, okay, we're not going to ignore those consoles, but we're also not going to produce as many starter packs for those consoles as we did for like the Wii, because we know the Wii is going to outsell these like 100 to 1 probably. And so back then, they actively made the decision not to create as many copies of those games. So now, fast forward 10 years, when those are the new consoles, the best consoles, the consoles people are playing now, or in the case of like PlayStation, like you can play the PS4 games on the PS5, or you can play the Xbox One games on the Series X. I always forget if it X or S, whichever one has the disc drive. Um, and so like you can play those games on the newest consoles, the current generation of consoles. And that's what either kids are playing nowadays or you guys are playing nowadays. You've grown up, you bought your own console, you've upgraded to the latest tech, And so now the demand for those PS4 and Xbox One games has gone through the roof. But unfortunately, they never created more than they created in the beginning. So very low supply and now very high demand. So that always causes prices to go up, up, up. Now, the issue with the Xbox One portals is that Xbox portals in general, Xbox peripherals in general, Microsoft made this thing when they made the Xbox like, hey, if you're going to make a controller for the Xbox, it can only work on the Xbox. If you're going to make a controller for the Xbox 360, it can only work on the Xbox 360. If you make a controller for the Xbox One, it can only work on the Xbox One. And they're not cross compatible. That like even 360 to Xbox One, there's nothing that's cross compatible. Like you can't do it. They just said like everything needs to be individual. And so that's why Xbox 360 portals only work on the Xbox 360. Xbox One portals only work on the Xbox One. So once again, low supply of Xbox One portals. There's now a high demand, and it's even lower supply because it's not the same portal that everybody else is using. It's not even, you can't even include all the 360 portals that were made. It's this tiny, tiny limited pool of Xbox One portals that were made. And then you get to the Trap Team portal, because the Trap Team portal is the only portal that can be used for all 4 Xbox One games. So everybody, the demand on that one is even higher yet than any other portal. And that's why it's so expensive. I'm still only charging $75 for it. I've seen a lot of people go up to $80, $90, $100. I saw one in a game store on a recent road trip. They had an Xbox One Trap Team portal listed at $100. And they might actually get someone to pay that. We've sold some folks in the marketplace, the SCL marketplace, have sold Xbox One Trap Team portals for $100. Like people are willing to pay those prices. But ultimately, the short answer, supply and demand. But that was the long answer. Yeah. Have a blast. Do we know? I have heard some numbers that I don't want to share because I haven't been able to confirm them to an extent that I'm happy with. Like I don't like to share misinformation. I don't like to share rumors. Um, and so since I haven't been able to confirm it to the level that I want to, um, I'm not sharing those numbers, but I, I have an idea of how many, and it makes me just very hopeful that I will get my hands on one someday. So, Seth, yes, they do have the same abbreviation, and it gets very confusing because a lot of people just like to reference, "Hey, do you have HBB?" And I'm like, which one? I need you to elaborate. I need more information. So yeah, even from context, and because they're both so rare, right? It's not like, oh, I saw HBB for $10. Like, no, it's usually like, hey, do you have HBB? And I'm like, which one? Yeah. Uh, did Pirate Dad have one in the video? Oh, no. No, he doesn't have a buckshot. No. The only pictures I have are uh I think the only pictures I have are from the eBay listing that went up a few years ago that got taken down by Activision. Um yeah, that's the only pictures I have. I don't know if I've ever shared those somewhere, but yeah. Oh boy. What else we got here? Do you think Skylanders will ever go down in price? No, I don't. The only thing I think that will cause the price to go down is a massive chip failure, which I don't expect to happen like all at once. So there may be a slow decline over time. Although what's going to happen then is like as the chips slowly stop working over the course of decades, do not expect this to happen anytime soon. But over the course of decades, so this may not even be in your lifetime. Um, but like that's just going to affect the supply and demand, right? And so the supply of working figures is going to keep going down. So the price of the working figures is going to keep going up. Um, but like I've asked people before, like, okay, if everything just stopped working tomorrow, would you still collect them? And it came out about 60-40. Like 60% of people said they would still collect the figures. And that's where I would anticipate like the price of those figures would go down if they were non-working figures. And people just wanted to collect the figures. But because people are going to keep collecting, because more and more are going to either stop working or be destroyed either by pets or kids or just be thrown away because it's parents cleaning out houses or estates being cleared out or whatever and things just get thrown in the trash without us knowing about it. The supply is going to supply of good figures is going to continue to go down, and so the prices are just going to keep going up. And then I always say like if uh, a new game comes out, even if it's all digital, even if a new game comes out and it's all digital, people are going to remember the old stuff and want the old stuff, and that's going to drive prices up. If a remaster comes out, people are going to want the old figures. Even if they either come out with a new game or a remaster and reproduce figures, the new ones will be cheaper. But I feel the old ones, the originals, people are going to want the originals. And so the price of the originals are going to go up yet. So like I just don't see a scenario really where things are going to go down. Like that they're collectibles. I think they'll hold steady. They may go up and down a little bit just as any collectible does. Um, but I don't really see them tanking or anything for any reason. All right. Enigma. Enigma, can you take a screen recording of you trying to check out and like send that to me? Like I am very curious what is happening in your situation. I I know the site is still working because we've had orders come in while I've been live streaming. And so I know people have been able to check out. Um, so I know it's not like the entire site is down. Um, but yeah, I'm curious what's going on, especially if you're legitimately trying to make a purchase and can't essentially. I would love to help you out and figure out what's going on there. So if you're able to like take a screen recording of you, adding stuff to your cart and trying to check out, and you can either email that to me or upload it to Google Drive and send me a link or send me a DM. And are you, are you in the? You're not in the Discord. Um, but yeah, get that to me somehow, and I'd like to investigate that. Levi, are you planning to add NFC cards, test Skylanders lost variants? No, no. I will not sell any of that stuff. No. That's not something I mess around with. there are plenty of other people in the community that are messing around with that stuff, and I think probably even selling that stuff on eBay, even though it's not technically legal. But um, yeah, I will not be touching that at all. Descore. Have you ever thought of doing a Skylanders podcast where you talk to fans, collectors, or even game developers about how they got into the game and such? Yes, I have. I back in the day, this was when would that have been? Like this may have been like 2015 even. I even recorded 2 or 3 episodes of a podcast starting to talk to fans and collectors about their collections and such. That was I was very, very new to podcasting at the time. I didn't really know what I was doing, and I never actually published any of those episodes. Um, since that time, I have thought about it many times, but right now where I'm at, like the past 4, 5 years almost, um, the shop has taken over so much of my time that there's no way I have time to work on a podcast. Um, so that is, well, I think it could be fun, and it would be something people might be interested in. It's not something that is high on my list right now. Now, I will say the shop is getting to a point now that I have 3 full-time employees. We've moved our 2 part-timers up to full-time, starting this month actually. Um, that I I may be able to take on some additional projects, but at the same time, I have some other additional projects in mind already that I kind of want to take on first. And so, like, the podcast is always kind of sitting there in the back of my mind, but I did podcasting for a number of years. If you're not familiar, I never did anything specifically related to Skylanders. Um I started out as a guest on the Toys to Light or Toys for Games podcast. That's kind of where I got my taste of podcasting. Um, I for a few years I ran a Harry Potter podcast called Tales from Godric's Hollow. I ran a Light Seekers podcast. Uh, when I went away from Skylanders, like in 2017, 2018, so like 2018, 2019, I really spent my time around Light Seekers. And I did start a podcast about that. And then I did a couple of podcasts with a buddy of mine, Brent, um, who liked what I did with the Harry Potter stuff. The Harry Potter podcast was me getting a friend of mine into it, um, who had never read the books before, and I got him to read them by saying, "Hey, let's read the books and podcast at the same time." So I got him through the entire series. Now, Brent liked that idea and decided to take that in a different direction and say, "Hey, you've told me you've never really watched Star Trek before." And like I'd seen a handful of episodes, my dad used to watch it growing up and stuff. It's like I want to take you through the Star Trek series and podcast about it. Um so we did a show called uh wow, I did that show for even more years, and I'm stuck on his new show now. He's doing one about Babylon 5. Um Star Trek. Star Trek. Why can't I come Brent, I'm sorry. I know you're not watching this, but Beam Me Up. That's what it was called. Beam Me Up. because he was beaming me up into the Star Trek fandom. Um, so we just we did a Star Trek podcast called Beam Me Up, where we watched not every Star Trek episode, but the essentials. I let Brent curate the list, and he took me through the essential episodes. So like I have podcasted for many years about multiple different topics, and I know what goes into it and what it takes, and especially to put out like a weekly show, it's a lot of time, a lot of effort. It's I mean, we're trying to ramp up things on the YouTube side right now, and there's a reason I've never been able to do it before, because to, put in the time and effort to record and edit and publish everything on a regular basis takes up a lot of time, and it's time I just didn't have before. And so that is something I guess I would like to do at some point, but I basically need a partner to work on it for me. So like I can create the content with them, but once it's recorded, I don't have to touch it anymore. And I can go back to, focusing on like the shop and stuff again. Um, because I just don't have 5, 10, 20 hours a week to focus on that. Team camo for life. You got it, Nelson. What's your favorite crossover Skylanders thing other than the guest stars? Examples are Diddy Kong, Koopa, Sparks. Oh, Sushi, that's a weird question. I've never been asked quite that question, and I'm not sure where to go with it. I don't have a good answer for you right now. Yeah, more love for Cobra Cadaver for sure. Wait, she built you, Jillian? Oh, yeah. Yeah, she put it in a sky sleeve for me. Okay. That's what we're talking about there. The backing is slightly larger than finalized. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, the top corners are bent just enough for me to be able to fit it in there. Like we didn't bend them, they were already bent, and so that like I'm fine putting it in there. Currently cleaning and repairing a springtime trigger happy box for your collection. Okay. That would be an interesting process. I don't know where I would start with that. Burger King or McDonald's? Honestly, I go back and forth between these two. Currently, I'm in Burger King mode. Yeah. Like especially on my road trips, because those are two of the most prevalent restaurants out there when I'm on the road, and they're the easiest. It's like they're good grab and go. Like burgers in general are good grab and go food. Like I can pick them up at a drive through, and I can drive while eating a burger because I can eat that one handed without being too messy. Whereas like if I get nuggets, I'm gonna want to like dip them, and that's I'm not gonna do that while I'm driving. Um, that is like Burger King. Yeah, yeah. I'm on Burger King right now. I think for a while I was wondering if we were to sign a petition. Do you think Activision re-release? But you go no, no, no. The production costs to get those up and running again um is far more than they could ever make from re-releasing them, at least at a decent price. Like unless they were charging $100 or $200 a figure, which would kind of negate the point of the re-release. Um, like it it wouldn't make any financial sense for them to do that. The only way I could see them re-releasing figures is if they came out with a new game. And so then they had more like, hey, we're creating new figures hey, now we can create some older or reprint some old figures as well. But I don't see them doing those at all. Why do you think ketchup chips are weird? It's a weird flavor. Like, I don't know. It's just not something I'm gonna eat every day. Just bought a breeze for 100 euro. That sounds like a good price to me. I plan to buy Skylanders U2s. Yep. I'm gonna buy them all. I already bought the plush. I'm gonna continue to buy the figures as they come out too. How much is a bronze tomb buggy worth? That's one I haven't looked up in a while, and I feel like those bronze figures always go for less than I think they should, in my opinion. Um, so like, I mean, I especially if it's loose, like my guideline is it's worth at least $100 um to me, but I haven't looked those up in a while, so I don't know what they're currently going for. I would guess maybe 100, loose tops, I think. I think those are the superchargers chase variants tend to be on the lower end. Like all the patina ones um are lower than I think they should be, but particularly the vehicles as well, just because the vehicles people didn't they're not as highly collectible because they're not like playable characters. Um and so that is unfortunate, but just the way it goes. All right. Did they do Xbox One Yeah, Martin. Yeah, there's portals for Swap Force, Trap Team, Superchargers, and Imaginators for Xbox One. They made all those portals, but like I said, the Trap Team one is the only one you can use on everyone. Can I show my rare Skylanders? Ruben, I would recommend you go watch my collection video. That's going to give you the best look at them. I put that out a few weeks ago. So there's two videos. One I show like my collection out of the 603, everything that I own so far. And then the the one that probably includes my rarest figures is probably the follow-up video to that, the weird part of my Skylanders collection. That's going to show like the E3 Spyro that I was just holding before. If you, I don't know if you were here for that, but that's going to give you close-ups of that and an explanation of what it is and everything. Um, but yeah, go check out those videos for sure. What was my first non-starter pack Skylander for each game? So sushi, this is always a tough one for me to answer because unlike most people who started out with Skylanders, I was already well into adulthood when Skylanders came out. You know, I was in my 20s when Skylanders was coming out, and so I rarely bought like just one figure at a time. Like if I was a kid and my parents were in charge of my money and weren't, you know, they were the one paying for things, like I there's no way I would have gotten the whole collection. I would have gotten the starter pack. I could probably convince them because I was a very logical kid. I could convince them to get one of each element, but beyond that, I don't think I would have been able to get any of them. Um, but my point being, when these games came out, I was an adult in my 20s with disposable income. And so, like, when Wave 1 launched, I bought everything in Wave 1. So it's hard for me to say which non-starter pack figure did I buy first. I I bought all of Wave 1. So I I didn't have to pick and choose. I realized that is a great privilege that I had, that I could get all the figures right away. And honestly, by the time we got to um, Superchargers and Imaginators, I like wave one, I didn't even buy. Like that I was connected with Activision at that point, and they were sending me the stuff to, promote and review and stuff like that. Um, and so like I would just get all of wave one right away. And then I would have to go out and buy wave two, wave three. But once again, I would buy like all of wave two right away as soon as it came out. So yeah, like I didn't have to pick. And so I don't know which one I got first. um, what if Skylanders comes back and all the toys come back to the stores, then the prices go down? Yeah, I think I covered that a little bit. Like like I said, I think that the new ones the new ones would be at, original retail price or whatever, probably 15 bucks a piece. But I still think if there was any way to differentiate the old ones from the new ones, I'm assuming there'd be some kind of like copyright date on there or something. Um, I still think the old ones go up in price. Seth, I don't think you will. uh, like I think most of the NFC chips are going to outlive us. Yes, Seth. There's only one happy heartbreaker buckshot listing a few years ago, and like I said, it didn't last very long. So, all right. How many green chompy mages have you bought after 2017? I mean, I didn't buy any for a long time. Um, I think we just looked this up the other day. Like, I think I've only sold like we're still single digits. I know that for sure. I know that for sure. Um, but yeah, I don't have an exact number, I guess, right now. I think it's around like six or seven, maybe, that I've bought since I'm bought and resold by now. Um, but yeah, it's a really low number. Seth, you like the idea of a podcast as well? Yeah. Yeah, the shop is thriving right now. And honestly, it's thriving because of my employees. Like there's absolutely no way I could be doing the volume and quantity that we're doing now uh just myself or even just me and Jillian. Like it would never work. We need the whole team. Like that there's a reason why we kept hiring. It was like it kept getting bigger and bigger. And now, like I said, we just brought our two part-timers full time. And yeah, it's I don't know if it'll keep growing necessarily, but we're definitely going to um keep doing what we can as much as we can. Ruin will ever sell clear traps separately. So the only time I sell clear traps separately is over on Whatnot. Um, there's a link down in the description if you're not part of Whatnot already. Jillian, thank you for the beat me up there. I should have just I should have scrolled down. Gotta keep up with these comments. But clear traps I sell over on Whatnot. If you click the link down in the description below, you can sign up through that link, get $15 in Whatnot credit to use over there. You can use it on my auctions or anybody else's auctions over there. But yeah, I don't plan on selling clear traps on the site because it's one of those things that's hard to explain and there's kind of different levels of clear. And so I always like to show them off to show people exactly what they're getting and explain why they're clear and what's going on. And um, yeah, like that's kind of what I'm going for. Could make a completely original core Skylander. What would the element be? What would it look like? And what would it play? So sushi. um, Funny you should ask about this today of all days. I don't know where to start with this. So, well, one, okay, first of all, creating Skylanders is not my thing. I leave that to the professionals. Um, it's it's something that I don't I feel I'm not good at doing right now, and I don't really enjoy doing. Um, I've said it many times before, and I'll say it again. Like creating imaginators in the creation crystals, not really fun for me. Creating customs, not really fun for me. So the idea of creating a completely original Skylander, not really fun for me. Like I leave that to the other people. I like to see what other people come up with. Um, I can tell you if I had to create one, it would be undead. That's my favorite element, but that's about as far as they can get. Like I don't know past that. Um, and so it's, but I will say I was between my live streams today, between whatnot and this live stream, I had a conversation with someone in the community that I have an idea that I want to move forward with that will oddly enough be help to showcase some original creations from the community. And I'm going to leave it at that for now. Um, I will have more details on that coming soon, but it and if you're in the Discord, you'll be hearing from me first. Um, so if you want to join the Discord, you can go to scldiscord.com or just join this YouTube channel, become a member, and join us over there. And you can find out before everybody else too. But yeah, that's what I it, it's because in that conversation I kind of said like if I move forward with this project, which I'm planning to, um, people are eventually going to ask me to create my own Skylander as well. And so, yeah, I mean, you basically just did already without even knowing. So I knew people are going to do it anyway. I'm going to leave it at that for now. Something to look forward to. Something I have cooking. And like I said, podcast is one thing, but I have other projects I want to work on too. So we'll keep moving on that. The Giant Chaos Trophy is not a custom. It is an official thing, and I will be talking more about it in the next road trip video. What things outside of Skylanders do you enjoy collecting, if anything? So I do I don't really collect much outside of Skylanders anymore. I have collected many things in the past. Um, but there's not a whole lot that I'm actively collecting outside of Skylanders right now. I've collected I mean, I way back in the day like I started out collecting trading cards. Like, is sports cards, football cards, basketball cards. Um that's kind of some of the earliest stuff I collected, but I don't do that anymore. I have collected Funkos in the past. I have done some Lego in the past. I have I have a complete set of Lego Dimensions. But like I said, it's complete now, so I'm not actively collecting it. I still have that collection. I own it, but I'm not like seeking it out. Um, so like that was the thing. Light Seekers, as I mentioned earlier, what I did between my Skylanders stints between 2017 and 2021 when I came back to Skylanders, I was doing Light Seekers in between there. And so I have a pretty complete Light Seekers collection. But like once again, I'm not actively collecting that right now. So yeah, there's not really much like my focus is Skylanders right now. That's what I enjoy. I still have a few things to collect there, and we'll do it. Um, Yeah, Enigma. Looks like Jillian got you here with the email address. Yeah, Matt. Anytime anyone needs to send me stuff, like Matt at SkylandersCharacterList.com is the easiest way to go with that. Um, yeah, you know I would never intentionally bend stuff like that. Was thinking of buying Sky Sleeves that are big enough to hold inbox vehicles, supercharged. Nope, unfortunately, not yet. We're hoping at some point more sizes are created. Right now, there are two sizes. One for Spyro's Adventure single packs, and one for Giants slash Swap Force single packs, like core Skylander single packs. Um, so nothing for the gimmick figures. So nothing for Giants, nothing for Swappers, nothing for Trap Masters or anything like that. Um, Nothing for Superchargers or vehicles. They don't quite fit those. Um, but it's a start. It's better than nothing at this point. When did you start the journey of I'm going to get every single Skylander ever? That's a very good question. Honestly, I don't think I really started that quest until probably 2021, maybe even 2022, because back in the day when I was just playing and collecting, I didn't really have like I wasn't going after all the chase variants. Like if I ever found one in stores, like I found an orange chain reaction. Or no, no, I think I bought that one or traded for that one. I found the rock candy pinata in stores. I found a uh patina lava lance eruptor in stores. But there are very few variants that I actually chase variants that I actually had, and I wasn't going to pay exorbitant amounts of money for them. Um, so back then, I wasn't even really collecting every figure ever. And then, if you know my full story, in like 2018 ish, I started selling off part of my collection, and I was only keeping uh like the first appearance of every character. So I sold off like all the variants, most of the chase variants that I had, all of the in-game variants, and really only kept like the first appearance of every character. So I could still play with every character in the game. That was what I wanted. Like I still want to be able to play as each character in the game. I did keep a select handful of favorites. Like I kept my quick draw rattleshake. I kept um just a few other variant figures that I really liked for whatever reason, but most of it I got rid of. And then when I came back in 2021 and started up the shop, and I started buying, and I'm like, okay, slowly over the course of time, you can go back to those live streams when I was unboxing all the stuff that I was getting for the shop. And I'm like, yep, I don't have this in my collection anymore, but I'm gonna just sell it. I'm gonna put it in the shop. My goal right now is to help you complete your collection, and I will build mine again over time. Maybe once a month or something, I'll take one of these figures that I'm buying and add to my collection. Now I got to the point eventually where it's like, okay, I'm buying so much now. Let's just add 5 pieces, 10 pieces, and very quickly accumulated at least the in-game variants that I was missing. Slowly over time, as I got bought more and more collections, I was seeing these chase variants, these rare figures pop up. I'm like, okay, well, I'll keep that one now in my collection. Like, because I was buying these collections at prices where, like, if I bought a $500 collection, I might be able to sell off most of the other stuff for $500 and keep the chase variant. And so, like, I was kind of breaking even then. This was the early days when I was working by myself and I didn't have to pay for employees and pay to rent an office space and pay insurance and all this other stuff. And now I have so many more expenses to take care of. I can't do that as much anymore. I have to sell more of what I buy. Um, but Now my collection is much more complete too at this point. In any case, um, yeah, it really wasn't until like I started buying in bulk like this and buying the collection since like, hey, this might actually be possible for me to acquire all of these other Skylanders. Um, and that's when I kind of said, yeah, we'll make that my goal. I can do that. All right. Seeing on Reddit that you bought extra of the YouTube plushes to sell in the shop. Is this true? Who's saying that? I I will say I did buy a few extras. The intent is not to necessarily buy in the to sell in the shop. I don't have that many. Um, I bought one set for myself that I'm keeping. They'll probably appear in the background here at some point. Um, I bought a couple more that I'm either going to use for giveaways or maybe, like auction off a set or something like that to help recoup the cost of the giveaways that I'm doing. Um, but I definitely don't have any kind of quantity that I purchased to like list them in the shop. That no. I don't know where people are getting that information, but it is not true. Like, I don't know what people think I'm buying, but no. No. Do you ever think of streaming 3DS Skylanders? I do, and I would love to, but streaming 3DS is extremely difficult because like the console itself, the handheld itself, is not built to stream, especially with the dual screens. It just doesn't really work. There was someone who was modifying 3DS consoles for a while to allow them to like stream or record like video capture at least. Um, but they're not doing that anymore, so I can't get it that way. So I just don't have a good way to stream that. Like I guess I could like just like record, like put a camera on like on top of the screen and do it that way or something. But even that's not a great example, like great way to do it. I don't think. It's like that's the biggest problem. I don't have a good way to stream. Kind of the same reason I don't really stream Spyro's Adventure or Giants because I don't have an easy way to stream them. So it's I don't know. I don't know. How many figures do they need to sell if they re-release the big three in some online shop? I mean, to honestly, to even make a dent in Activision's book, like they probably need to sell millions, and they're not going to sell millions. They'd probably sell thousands, maybe tens of thousands, but it's not going to be enough for them to really pick it up again. Why didn't the Imaginators have a unique portal? Because they didn't need it. Why are they going to reinvent the wheel, especially if they had any inkling that this might be their last game? I mean, think about it. Going from Spyro's Adventure to Giants, we didn't really get a new portal. They reused the old design. They changed the ring, the plastic ring that was green to clear, and that was it. The rest of the portal's the same. Like there is no reason to change it. Like the reason we got a different portal in Swap Force, I believe, is because it was Vicarious Visions, and they said, "Hey, we want to do things a little bit different." Um, Trap Team needed it because we needed a trap slot in the speaker. Superchargers, they changed it mostly because of the vehicles. Like the other designs, the previous designs didn't really have room to place the vehicles on there very well, and especially if you're playing two player. then like there wasn't room for a vehicle and two characters like that. It just didn't work. So that's mostly why they redesigned it for superchargers. And that, but then we got to uh, Imaginators, and you didn't need any of that. And so they're like, yeah, we we're just going to use the portals we already have. No need to recreate anything. Um, and so they didn't. It was to save money in the long run. Save money. All right. If I remember correctly, we didn't know when Giants came out that Surprise Adventure had released variants. Martin, I'm not sure what you're referencing there. Da, da, da. There you go. Respect to you, Jillian, Sammy, and everyone else who makes SEL what it is. Yep. Yep. Good stuff there. I appreciate them every day. How do you think Skylanders prices will increase in the next 20 years? 20 years is a long time. Long time. I mean, just looking at where they went in the past 10 years, there's so much that could happen to affect things. And it's impossible to predict everything. I would say, I mean, I can speak generically, I guess. Like I said, I don't think they're going down in the next 20 years. I think they will continue to slowly climb up, whether that's just because of inflation or if it's because, like I said, supply is dwindling slowly due to either chips dying or just figures getting damaged or figures just ending up in a landfill somewhere because someone threw them out. I think that, yeah, things are just gonna if there even if there are no other major contributing factors, I think they're just slowly going to continue to climb. And it's hard to say if it'll be like, oh, everything will be double or triple the price. I don't know, but I think they'll be higher than they are now. They'll be that much older, that much harder to find, and like I said, supply probably be lower. So I think 20 years from now they will be more expensive. Do Jillian, thank you for taking care of all that administrative work there. I appreciate that. The Enigma, I hope you get that figured out. Or actually, well, if Jillian hasn't checked already, I suppose I can check too. There appears to be a screen recording here. I'll have to view that later. It looks like the email went through though. Seth, yeah, Lorcana. I started collecting Lorcana. The first 4 sets, I was very heavily into it. Yeah, as Jillian said there, I have cooled off on it a bit recently. Like it's while I am very familiar with how what like the TCG release schedule, whether it be Pokemon or whatever, um, it's a lot to keep up with. Especially if it's just a side gig for you. And ultimately it came down to like I just kept missing release dates because I was on a Skylanders road trip. And I finally hit my breaking point, I guess you could say, where it's like, well, I've just missed it for like the second or third time. I'm like, there's a part of me that really wants to keep collecting them, but one, it is expensive, and two, I feel like I'm so far behind. It's gonna be hard to catch up. Not impossible by any means, but I it's not as high on my list anymore, right? I just like any trading card game, the earliest sets are always going to be the hardest to collect in the long run, and so I'm kind of glad I got most of those done. But it's it's n- it's not something I would consider that I'm currently collecting. Am I rich? Does the shop finance my life? Um, I wouldn't consider myself rich, but yes, the shop is my full-time job and is the full-time job for now 3 other people. So, yes, the shop, I guess you could say, finances my life in some respects. Um, but not to the point like I'm not a millionaire or anything like that. Um, but yes, it does pay the bills. It does pay the bills. So thank you for that. I literally have all of you to thank for that, for caring and trusting in me to provide the products and to continue to buy from me on a regular basis. Um, I uh, that is my job now. That is my full time job. It's all I do. I don't have other employment. And like I said, it's not just me now, and that's the scary part sometimes is like I'm not only responsible for my finances, but this business is responsible for the finances of 3 other people and their families. Um, so that's even more pressure not to screw up. But once again, like I said, thank you. I never pictured it getting this big, but it certainly has. How much were you willing to pay to get something unreleased Skylanders or maybe a real figure of a Skylanders only in code of some Skylanders games? Um, Sushi, I do have prices in mind for some of that stuff, but that's not stuff I like to share publicly. Partly because people can take advantage of that then. Um, but yeah, I do have prices in my head of kind of what I'm willing to spend, but yeah, I like to keep that stuff private for now. How'd you get so good at math? Learned because of the shop or natural talent? That's an interesting question. I've never been asked that before, I don't think. Um, but I do have a fairly natural tendency for math. It was always my favorite subject growing up. My whole family is generally pretty good at math. Um, I mean, the shop certainly helps, I guess you could say. But yeah, I've always been pretty good at math. How many food fights do we currently have? I I think we still have the 300 plus that I bought a few road trips back. So at least that, because I don't think those are listed in the shop right now. Plus whatever's in the shop, which is probably another 100 or so, I would guess. So I if I had to estimate right now, over 400, but I don't know the exact number. What's console you mostly play on when you want to play Skylanders? PS5. PS5. That's my main console right here. I've always kind of been more of a PlayStation guy. So even when I started, I was playing on PS3. Eventually moved to PS4. Now PS5. Um, I played Sky. I have played on the 3DS. I played briefly on a Wii U during Superchargers so I could play as Bowser and Donkey Kong, and I made some video content then. I mean, it's still on the channel. You can go check that out if you want to. It's really old, boring content, but um, it's out there. But then after that, I basically sold the Wii U, so I don't even have that anymore. Um, but yeah, I really pretty much only play on PlayStation. Ardioka, I have recently learned this as well, and I need to um I need to update that on the website, honestly, because yeah, I was going off the information they told me. Now there is one exception is the 3DS portal. Uh, the Swap Force 3DS game will not allow you to use the other portals. It like if you try to use one of the other portals, it specifically says in game you must use a Swap Force portal for this game, or however they word it. Um, so yeah, yeah, I was kind of shocked to find that out, that it may not be as efficient or something, but it definitely works. Yeah, hobbies do get expensive for sure. Jillian, I don't feel that I like this. Means I scrolled past something that I wasn't paying attention to, or I was just too far behind in the chat again. I'm guessing that was it. Lego's almost always been going up in price for sure. Oh, I know what that was the email. Yep. Jillian already checked. Got it. Yeah, 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 yeah. She's a professional. You can wireless stream the 3DS if you have a new edition. Hmm. Mm-hmm. Florian, I might have to look into that. What is that? Yeah. I don't know which, like, we have one or two 3DSs in this house, and I'm not sure which edition they are. So I'd have to look into that. Congrats, Falcon. Show me your moves. Do. I keep getting inbox stuff and packing them well, and I'll keep buying. Pirate Dad, speaking of which, I left you a little note in your package this week. We did notice one of the packages was a little bit loose that I don't think I showed off on camera. So if that's a problem for you, let me know and we'll take care of it somehow. Um, but Jillian pointed it out when she was packing it, and she's like, "Did you mention this on stream?" And I'm like, I don't think I did. So, um, but yeah, I I know you're looking for those good boxes, and we try to treat them well. Yeah, Florian, I see I see Jillian got your response here, but the answer is coming. The answer is coming. Yeah, eBay sellers aren't always reliable. Take care of pack. Yep. I I sold a trap on eBay the other day, and I got a message from them saying, "Oh, please use extra packing material and pack this super carefully because I've had Skylanders orders that have come in broken before." And I'm like, "Okay, one, I'm a professional. I always pack things carefully. I understand you don't know who I am, but please give me the benefit of the doubt. I appreciate that. Two, it's a trap. Traps are one of the hardest things to damage, especially when it's one singular trap being shipped in a box. And like uh, nothing is going to happen to this thing. Like I can't imagine what would have to happen to a box that a singular trap is packed in for it to be destroyed and for it to destroy the trap. Like those are some of the hardiest pieces we have in Skylanders. Now, if you had ordered even if it was just a chill or a stealth elf and you made that comment, I would understand so much more than a trap. Or if you had ordered a rocky roll or a green chompy mage or something, like I would understand that comment. But you ordered a trap. Oh boy. Seth, have a good night. I'm sure you're gone by now because I'm way behind in the comments, but thanks for hanging out. I swapping catchphrases? You got me. I'm not sure I could even name all the catchphrases, to be honest. Yeah, it's unfortunate that none of the other portals work with Trap Team. What is the market price of those 3D printed Imaginators? Saw two yesterday from a German eBay listing. So we have generally sold them. Shoot, it's been a while since I've sold one. And Chaotic, are you in here today? I don't think you are. He buys them a lot more than I do. I think we've generally sold them in the like $500 to $600 range at auction. That's generally about the range they've been going. I don't think I've ever seen them go for less than like 300. But I think 5 to 6 is the typical range nowadays. But that can also vary, like if it's a really nice design that someone likes or wants, like because they are all kind of one of ones, they get judged individually, and some of them are just bad designs or boring designs. But some were actually very cohesive, and some people put some time and effort and thought into them, and they turned out really well. And they can demand a slightly higher price tag. But in general, I think we've seen them go for about 500 to 600. Why do I like Firecrocking so much? I think you have me mistaken with someone else. What do you think about Mega Block Skylanders? Do people collect? People do collect them, Martin. I don't really care for them. To me, Mega Blocks is always like knockoff Lego, and they're just not great. Like the quality control isn't that good. I honestly don't like how they do make their figures, how like um they articulate like at the wrists and the ankles, and like that ankle articulation always makes it just weird to make them stand up even. I I've struggled with this just from taking pictures of them for auctions and stuff like that. Um and it's weird. It's weird. Um but yeah, like the blocks themselves just never stick together as much. I don't think they're as creative. You don't get to they make more big pieces, And so you don't get to like actually build as much as like Lego and stuff like that. That's why I was always sad when I found like Mega Bloks got the Skylanders license. They get a lot more video game licenses in general as opposed to Lego. If Skylanders made or if Lego made Skylander sets, I'd be all over them for sure. But the Mega Bloks I just can't get into. Has the UFO car driven up in price like Breeze? Not really. We that price hasn't changed in quite a while. Like it definitely went up from what it was back when the games were being created. Like I remember, shortly after Swap Force released, there was people were selling them on eBay for like $8 or something. And it's like, oh, nothing. Okay, fine. You can get one later if you want. Then they jumped up to, 20, 30. And then after that, 40, 50, and eventually 80, and then 100. And it's kind of hung around that 80 to 100 price for quite a while now. I don't think that price has gone up in a few years. So I that is one that could continue to go up, kind of like the volcanic vault has been going up a little bit more recently. I always feel the UFO hat is one that could more easily continue to go up in price because of that supply and demand factor. And I always attribute it to the fact that the UFO hat card doesn't look like a figure. Like you get something like the volcanic vault, at least it still has like that Skylanders base to it. It has the green ring and the little black base on top of it. And it's like if you know Skylanders, it's like, oh, this might be Skylanders related. This might be something. But you see a UFO hat card and it's like, this is a piece of cardboard. It says pre-order. Like, why should I keep this? Unless you read the entire card, like front and back, and it's like, oh, keep this card and unlock something in the game. Oh, maybe I should keep this. Or like a lot of people are just gonna throw it away. It's gonna get caught up in a stack of papers somewhere and just get tossed. Or like I like if the example I always use is like parents cleaning out their children's room when they go off to college. Like that's the generation that we're at right now, right? And they're cleaning stuff out. It's like, okay, these Skylanders figures, we'll put these in a bin over here. Oh, this cardboard thing, oh, that's just gonna go in the trash. Like they're just doing a quick sort. They may not know, they may not understand. They're not gonna do research on all that stuff right away. And so I think we're gonna get fewer and fewer of them faster than the figures. Like the figures look like they're collectible. They look like they might have value. Whereas the UFO hat card, if you don't know what it is, it's just a piece of cardboard. Like it doesn't even look like a trading card or anything, right? Whereas like if someone runs across a Pokemon card or a Michael Jordan card, like, oh, this might have some value. But this pre-order card for a video game from 15 years ago, why should I hold on to that? All right. Charlie is currently playing Spyro's Adventure for 3DS. There you go. Supercharged Portal had the speaker and worked in Trap Team. Do you think people would buy that over the Trap Team Portal? Possibly, yeah. Or at least I think they'd be on equal footing. I think they'd be on equal footing. I think some people would still want the Trap Team Portal because it came with Trap Team. And it has a different look. And honestly, I like the look of the Trap Team Portal better than the Superchargers Portal. But yes, I think like for me selling them in the shop, I think they'd probably be the same price, unless we still saw a significant um, difference in how people were buying them. If the Trap Team one still continued to sell out over the Superchargers one, well then I'd raise the price of the Trap Team one a little bit more. But it's still probably only be like an extra $5 or something like that. It wouldn't be a huge difference like we see between, I mean, essentially a $5 portal and a $20 portal. And that And can you tell that Jillian takes care of my customer service emails? Um, but yes, the Trap Team Portal's design, maybe not the greatest. It looks cool. It looks cool, but as far as being able to read figures, um, it's not great. And that may be why they changed it back to a different design as well. Uh, yes, traps aren't hard to damage if you are actively trying to damage traps. But as far as the postal service is concerned, most of what they're doing, unless they're literally setting their trucks on fire, is not going to damage a trap. I am not going to respond to this. Artioka, yeah, yeah. Jillian's been paying attention to this too. I know I released the figure focus a little bit early um, than originally planned. One, I think, yeah, a lot of people are even unaware of the video you are referencing to the milestones and such. Um, Two, we got to a point where we we're mapping out the video schedule and I needed something to put in a couple of these spots. I'm like, well, I have these figure focus videos. Like, I still need to edit them, but like we have them. We could slap them in here and it would work out nicely. And we can kind of round out that series. Um, and so that's kind of what's happening. The Spyro one, the final figure focus video is going to be coming out probably before we hit the I don't know what I said, like 22.5K subs or something too. Like it'll probably be coming out next month, honestly. Um, but yeah, I'm still gonna try to keep up with those other milestone unlocks. Um, I'm obviously not making a huge deal out of it, but it is still something I want to do. So sushi, like surprisingly, people ask me this question a lot. What would be a fair price for every Skylander besides variants and unreleased? I I don't have that number. Like the best I could tell you is go look up the prices on SCL collectibles and add up all those numbers. And whatever you come up with, that is what I would say is a fair price. I mean, if you're buying. Now, if you're selling, I mean, it's still a fair price, but I wouldn't expect to get that if you're selling it all at once as one big collection. Because when you sell in bulk, you're just never going to get the same prices as individually priced figures. It just doesn't work that way. Um, but I, I don't have that number off the top of my head. I feel like I should get that number because I'm asked enough that it would it would almost seem impressive. It's like, oh yeah, I think fair price is $3,426.99. I don't know. Who would want someone else's 3D printed Imaginator? I know a lot of people that want those. Partly because, like, some people just want one because it shows up in the menu. Believe it or not, that is included in the 603. Um, because it shows up in the menu. It shows up generically as CYOS, so create your own Skylander figure, 3D printer figure, and the cards as well that you could order. The 3D printed, not 3D printed, the just the NFC cards you could get of those characters as well. That shows up separately in the creation menu too, or the collection menu. So yeah, people definitely want them. Lucky enough to get your hands on a Sir Hoodington. Nice. Yeah. I've seen a few of those floating around. What's your favorite one of the big 3? Honestly, it's probably Wildstorm. I don't really care for Robo, and I think everybody knows that Chompy Mage is not that great. Um, even though Chompy Mage is green, I think Wildstorm's design is actually quite good, and I think I like him over the other 2. Lego Skylanders would be the best thing ever. Yeah. I mean, all Legos are pricey at this point, right? But just realized Figure Focus came out today. Yes, sir. It's out there. It's not that long. You could go watch it and come back before we end the stream. Wish they made more wireless portals. I mean, I get it. I understand why people want wireless portals, but I unless they became so much more efficient, I don't want them. Like, I don't know if I just had a bad portal when I first got it, but the first portal I got, um, it was a wireless portal, and like I played the game constantly in the beginning, and I felt like I was replacing the batteries in that thing like every like 3 hours. Now I can't say I've tried it since I upgraded to a a wired portal. Um, and yes, the convenience of having a wireless portal would be great. That you wouldn't have to sit super close to TV. I'd rather get a USB extender cable though, and not have to worry about battery life. But yeah, I did not have a great experience with batteries back in the day. Wi-Fi. No, like that's why I made a point of saying, look what I got to hold. I got to hold 2 Happy Birthday Bens. I did not get to purchase them. I did not get to purchase them. I'm still missing that from my collection. What Skylander would you jump for joy, do a little dance if you saw in the wild for a price that is lower than normal? Um, I mean, any honestly, any chase variant, any of the big 3, anything that, in my shop I value at like $100 or more. Like if I find that for cheap, like yeah, I may not do a little dance because I'm out in public and I'm introverted in that way. But I'm doing a little dance in my head. Yeah, Arioka, that'll be coming. I don't have a date set for it right now, and I'm going on vacation next week, so it's not going to be anytime soon. But I am planning on getting that done before the end of the year. I just don't know when. Um, but yeah, I need to get that planned for sure. Almost caught up on chat. How long ago did you post that? Um, is it Disney? Is Skylanders Arcade still a Disney? Last time I checked, yeah. I just checked on that. Was that January or May? I think I checked this year. It was still there. Um, um, so I can check again. I'm going in a couple weeks. But yeah, it was definitely there recently within the past few months at least. The wireless portal is more immersive. Yeah. I mean it's more magical, right? It's like, yeah, I have this portal way over here and and it shows up on screen. It was great. But yeah, wired portals are better for sure. The new YouTube's figures look amazing, especially the Pop Fizz. Yeah. If you haven't been following along, I usually post over on my Twitter feed because that's where YouTube's posted a lot. But they've shown off now a trigger happy figure, a sketch of the backside of a Tree Rex figure, and today they just posted the backside of the Pop Fizz figure. So I don't know if we're getting more than three or if they're just coming out in threes again. But if it's those three, I mean, Trigger Happy, Tree Rex, and Pop Fizz, it makes sense. Those are, the popular figures once again. Like none of those are really my favorite. I think Trigger Happy is probably my favorite out of those three, but I'm still gonna get them. Batteries only last like 3 to 4 hours. Yeah. Okay. So it's not just me. Yeah, 3 to 4 hours for sure. Do you have Skylanders Imagineers for the Switch? I do. Yeah. Yeah. I haven't really played it because by the time I got it, I had already, beaten Imaginators on the PS4 for probably 3 or 4 times. So like um I I didn't have a lot of incentive to play it, but I do own it, yes. You do a dance for life snake trap. I'm g- you know how I am in stores. I'm not going to dance in public. How much would you pay for a Packers themed Skylander? I ever since I saw the first image of it, I wanted to maybe that should be my first custom. I was gonna I wanted to paint Boomjet in a Packers uniform. Like he just sits he looks like he's throwing a football. Does everybody else not see that? Like is that just my mind? Like Boomjet is throwing a football. Like he's a quarterback. I that should probably be my first custom. I have an idea. I actually have an idea. I can make Boomjet Jordan Love. Would you go out drinking with Pop? I don't think I trust Pop Fizz with my drinks. Oh, you're gonna go in a couple of weeks. We gonna be there at the same time? You don't need to tell me out in public here when your travel exact travel plans. But yeah, yeah, go check it out. Animal Kingdom Lodge. Pirate Dad, yeah, that's my guess too. I just haven't done any research in to see like we kind of knew that with the plush that is going to be three. Like that's kind of how their waves go. I didn't know if it was any different for the figurines, if they went three or if it was five or something like that. But Whiffy, it's all good. I got you there. Uh, how often do you get broken Skylanders? The chip doesn't work. Um, yeah, so they don't happen that often. Like we do have a couple boxes of them down in the basement now because um because they do uh because of the quantity that we order, right? We have now what I just say before? We've sold over 176,000 items, which means we've tested probably close to 200,000 items. Um, and I did the math at one point. The number of broken figures that don't work that we've gotten in is well under 1%. Well under 1%. So like if you have uh 200 figures in your collection, 1% of that would be 2 figures. But if it's less than that, if it's a half a percent, 1 figure. So maybe 1 out of 200 figures or something doesn't work. And that's on a huge scale. And we get a bunch of, figures that haven't been treated that well, and they weren't shipped well, and we don't know what kind of conditions they were stored in and stuff like that. So it's like the figures that are broken that don't work, they're rare. And most commonly when they don't work, it's because they weren't kept well. Whether they were introduced to water or other liquids, or whether they're stored in a humid attic or a damp basement, or whether the dog got to them and the dog slobber got in there and caused it not to work. Like those are the things that cause figures not to work more often than just the chip failing. Um, so like I've always said, if you treat your Skylanders well, they'll last you a good long time. If instead of a Patriots theme figure, we got a Packers theme figure, I would love it. Tried to see the arcade machine at Animal Kingdom in the summer, but they didn't allow me in because they only allow parking for guests or if you have a dinner reservation. The Skylander dude, yeah. So yeah, you got to know their systems. So you can get in, but yeah, you're not gonna be able to drive straight in. Like I don't stay at Animal Kingdom Lodge. Um, what you got to do is just use Disney transportation. So I don't know what your plans were at the time, but like if you were actually going to Disney, like if you're staying at a different resort, you either go to a park or go to Disney Springs and then take a bus from there to Animal Kingdom Lodge. That's how you get in. That's how you bypass the system. Um, and so I mean, it takes some time, a little bit of time. It may take you out of your way, but that's the easiest way to do it. You either go to one of the parks or to Disney Springs and take a bus from there to Animal Kingdom Lodge. Um, you can go do your thing in the arcade and then, just take a bus back to wherever you need to go, wherever you came from, probably. But yeah, that's the way to do it. And yes, they are a little picky about letting people in because space is limited, and they've had issues with people abusing that parking space. And so it's a little weird at Animal Kingdom Lodge that they're that picky, because Animal Kingdom Lodge is really out of the way. Um, it's more of a problem at like the Magic Kingdom resorts where people like want to park at the Contemporary that is, right next to Magic Kingdom. So they have a 5-minute walk, and then they don't have to worry at the end of the night about like taking the ferry back or taking the monorail back with all the crowds. They can just walk over to the Contemporary, get their car and leave. But they don't want people clogging up that parking lot. So they require, yeah, you either have to be staying here or have a dinner reservation. And even then, if you have a dinner reservation, according to their rules, you're only supposed to be there no more than 2 hours ahead of your reservation and no more than 2 hours after your reservation. Um, so it is what it is. They got to do what they got to do. But Boomjet Aaron Rodgers, it's going to be a Boomjet Jordan Love. Cheese hat on camo. I feel like I've seen that before. They should have let you in if you said who you were. Yeah, just tell them you're the Skylanders arcade machine maintenance man or something like that. First custom should be Tree Rex as your American football team. Yeah. Wow. I've heard of lifting limitations before, but 1 pound is not a lot of weight. But I suppose with your wrist, that would make sense. So yeah, hope you feel better. Hope you heal fast, because that would be annoying. not being able like you how much does a phone weigh? Like, can you pick up a phone? Can you pick up a remote? I suppose those are probably less, but I mean, even just like trying to drink. Josh, how often do you get a restock on Skylanders? How fast do you think the Trap Masters or Imaginators sell out? So, we don't have a specific restocking schedule. Typically, we restock once a week, occasionally twice a week. In a very rare case, we sometimes used to restock like 3 times a week. That really doesn't happen much anymore. Usually it's once a week, very occasionally twice a week. Um, but there's not like a specific day we always restock on or anything like that. Um, we do post on YouTube, Twitter, Blue Sky whenever those restocks do happen. If you become a member of this YouTube channel, you can join the SCL Discord, as I'm hiding in the corner down here. You can join the SCL Discord. We do alert Discord members before the general public on Twitter and YouTube about any shop updates. So you get a little bit of a head start there. Um, Plus, you get to join a cool community over in the Discord. But yes, Trap Masters and Imaginators are two of the things that sell out the fastest. Imaginators for sure. Trap Masters is usually second to go, but sometimes it's swappers. Like those are the three things that probably sell out the fastest. Um, and it really depends what we get in and how many we get in. If we only get in, one of each Imaginator, like that, I just got like one big collection that week, and it's just one of each Imaginator, that could sell out in an hour or less. Um, Sometimes we get bigger weeks where you get 2 or 3 or 4 of some of them that might last 24 or 48 hours, but I can almost guarantee that, within 4, 5, 6 days, they're going to be sold out for sure. Like all the Imaginators, all the Trap Masters, probably the Swappers too. Um, and it's going to look depleted again. And so, like, if we update on a Monday and you come looking on a Friday, the store might look empty. But if you come back, the next beginning of the next week and we update on Monday or Tuesday or whatever it is, and you hit us on the right day, the store can look very full. So it really just depends um, when you hit it. But that's why I would recommend if you're really struggling to find stuff, join the Discord, um, and get that leg up on everybody else. But if you're just watching carefully, if you have notifications turned on and stuff like that, Twitter and Blue Sky notifications are a little bit better than YouTube notifications. Um, but in my mind, Discord notifications are way better than any of those social media platforms. Um, and so that's the way to go, not only because you get a head start on everybody else, but you also, the notification system is just better. Um, so yeah, like I said, we don't have a strict schedule that we follow. It really depends on how fast we get stuff in, how fast my team is able to process stuff, and when Jillian Jillian's actually in charge of when the updates go out, and it's up to her discretion, based on the orders that we have that week. Because, like I said, if she comes in on a Monday morning and she has 100 orders waiting for her because Friday, Saturday, Sunday the orders build up, because it doesn't really work most weekends, and so if those orders build up and we have 100 orders waiting on Monday morning, she's not going to put out an update right away because that could easily double her orders, and then she's not going to be able to get them out on time. So that might be a week when the update doesn't come out till Tuesday or Wednesday or something like that. Um, so yeah, we restock often. Like I said, typically once a week, sometimes more, but hopefully that helps you a little bit. Da, da, da. Planning to Is that planning to sell? Plan to sell my entire Skylanders collection? I have characters and games for every game, but I don't know what I should sell them all for. So, I mean, like I said, if you're looking at pricing, my site is a place to start for pricing, and it really depends um, how you what your goal is how I like to explain it to people. Is like, are you looking to get the most money for them? Are you looking to spend the least amount of time selling them? Are you looking to put the least amount of effort into selling them? Like, all of these kind of dictate how I'd recommend selling them and what I would expect to get for them in each case. Like, if you're looking to get the most money possible, you want to sell things off individually, it's going to take a lot of time, a lot of effort. You're going to have to ship a lot more packages and make, like, if you're selling on eBay or something, make a lot of listings. But in the end, it'll get you the most money. But if you just want to get rid of them quickly and want to get a decent price, but you know you're not going to get top dollar, like, I buy collections and I buy complete collections. I don't cherry pick the stuff off the top. I just say, okay, it's all or nothing. Like, I'll buy everything or nothing. Um, that is what a lot of people choose to do because they don't want to put in the time and effort. But I'm running a business. I have a lot of expenses. I know what I can pay for these figures, so I can stay in business and keep helping other people complete their collections. It's probably going to be a lot lower than you're expecting or wanted. Um, I do know, though, beat out just about every single used game store out there in what they're going to pay you, by a pretty hefty margin in most cases. Um, especially if you have any rare figures, like, they're usually not knowledgeable about rare figures, and they're not going to look them up on the spot. So they'll just like, yeah, we'll pay you $1 a figure or something like that. Or in most cases, honestly, I've seen they pay like 10 cents a figure because those are the stores that are, selling them for $1 or $3 or whatever. So they're only paying 10 cents a figure. Um, but then there's kind of the middle ground where, okay, you can break it up into smaller lots, whether you're selling, like, okay, we'll sell all the SSA figures as one lot and all the Giants figures as another lot and all the swappers as another lot. And so it's kind of the middle ground of, okay, it's going to be a little bit more effort because I have to sell multiple things yet, but there's smaller lots that are easier to sell. Um, People will pay up a little bit because the the, the the battle you're fighting is people really want to buy individually. They want to pick and choose which figures they want and which figures they don't need and stuff like that. Uh, and so if you're selling, okay, here's all the SSA figures. Well, who is that lot good for? It's good for someone just starting out collecting, and they um they need every figure, right? And so if you have every figure, great, you have it all in one lot. But then they see, I don't know, $300 price tag, and it's like, "Oh, I don't want to spend that much right away. I'm not sure I want every figure. I think I want every figure, but I'm just getting back into this. I only have like $50 to spend." And so, like, I'm okay, can I pick these 3 figures? And, like, it becomes a thing. So, like, okay, instead of 300, can you knock down to 200 or 100 or something, something in the middle there, 150, um, and make it more palatable and say, "Hey, I'm giving you a deal on these. You're helping me out by selling all these figures faster." And we both kind of win that way. That's kind of that middle ground. So it really depends, like I said, what your goal is. Are you looking to sell fast? Are you looking to get top dollar? Like, what's your goal? gonna sell some plants so you can afford more Skylanders. Curious. Curious. Charlie, I have played the 3DS games. I think I've only played each 3DS game once, and then I went back to the main console stuff. So, like, I've played through them, yes. Um, but I I haven't revisited them since, really, since I like I said, if I could stream them easily, I'd play them a lot more. Seeing that arcade unit would be the highlight of the Disney World trip. Yep. Yep. Good tip. We literally just drove up to the gate. Yeah. I understand. I understand. And you're not the only people I've ever tried to do that. So they it, they have, like I said, they have reasons for their rules, but it can be annoying, especially if you don't know what's going on. Any update on figures you need? Just gonna bite the bullet and buy off eBay, or just waiting it. So yeah, I mean, if you haven't seen my latest collection videos, I'm down to 7 figures. 6 of them are unreleased and 1 is Happy Birthday Ben. This is not stuff I can just buy off eBay. I mean, okay, there's a Happy Birthday Ben list on eBay for 50 grand. I'm not paying 50 grand. It's not worth 50 grand. No one should ever pay 50 grand for that figure. I do not recommend it. The ones that have sold for significantly less. It is nowhere near 50 grand. I do not recommend that. So like if it was as easy as, oh yeah, I'm gonna buy them off eBay, I would. But the problem is they're not the figures I need are not listed on eBay, at least not at reasonable prices. So I I'm willing to pay, I'm willing to buy stuff if it presents itself to me, but what I need is tough to find at this point. So it's almost more like I'm still hunting. I'm still hunting for the opportunities. Jillian, have a good night. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for answering all the questions. I appreciate you. And do have a Cloud Patrol arcade manual. You can pull off the maintenance man. Awesome. Can't do much on my own. Unfortunately, I have amazing parents. Awesome. Glad to hear you have the support system at home. Actually supposed to move into my apartment this. Oof. Well, good luck with that. I hope that doesn't throw your plans off too much. Pirate Dad, I'm on board. I'm on board. Mostly because I want to see a mini forklift. I mean, I would love to help the Skylander dude as well, but I mostly want to I want to say help buy a mini forklift. Yes, we are a cool group. I believe that's in reference to this the Discord. Da, da, da. Best selling variant of each type. Variant. That I don't know offhand. I'd have to do some research on that. But that's a good question. Yeah, best and worst selling. Yeah, I'd have to look all that up. I don't know that answer offhand. Yeah. You see, that's what I'm saying. Like YouTube notifications are not great. It's unfortunate. Yeah, Whiffy, as Turtle says here, yeah, I buy from anywhere, so you would need to ship it. and like so we need to factor that into the negotiations. The easiest way I tell people is like get an estimate, especially international folks, get an estimate for shipping ahead of time. I live in the United States. I live in Wisconsin. If that helps you out, um, usually internationally, just they just need to know what country you're shipping to get an estimate like that. But yeah, I always tell people like you're going to be responsible for the shipping costs because I need to know how much my total payment is upfront. When people tell me it's like, oh yeah, I'll sell it to you for $500 plus shipping. Well, what is shipping? I can't agree to plus some ambiguous number. Like I need to know what that total is upfront. So I recommend getting a shipping quote ahead of time so you can factor that into the negotiation price. Um, but yeah, I do buy worldwide. I've bought from Australia, I've bought from Canada, I've bought from the UK, I bought from Germany, Netherlands. I've I buy from anywhere. And like a lot of times, like if it's just a small collection, 10, 20 common figures coming from the UK, it's not going to be worth it. Like the shipping cost is going to outweigh anything I could pay you. But if it is a full collection, a complete collection, I mean, even if it's minus variants or whatever, if it's just a basic collection like that, that's usually we can work out a deal to a point where it makes sense for me to buy it. You got shipping covered, you're still making something. So if you want to explore that, I here's my spiel. I ask that you send me pictures of everything you have for sale. You can take it just a few good group shots. The best is when you like line them up in rows of like 10 or so, like a 10 by 10 grid or whatever. You can picture that. That's the easiest way for me to see what you have. A lot of people like to break it up by game. So I mean like 6 pictures will do. Like that'll be plenty good for me. Um if they're all like I said lined up nicely so I can see what's there and what condition they're in and stuff like that. Um yeah, send me an email with those pictures and your initial asking price once you figure out what that is, and we can start negotiations there. Um, Not every deal works out. I won't be offended if you don't like my price or if we can't come to an agreement in the middle somewhere, but I'm happy to take a look at what you have and at least make you an offer if you want to explore that opportunity, that possibility. Um, and yeah, you can email. I don't know if you're here before. My email, matt@skylanderscharacterlist.com. We'll throw it up on the screen briefly. So you can pause the screen there and get that email address if you need to. But matt@skylanderscharacterlist.com. Um, do, do, do. What else we got? And just like that, we're behind on the chat again. I was so close to catching up. I could see like the bottom, like scroll bar was actually near the bottom of the screen. Beyond the Trail, my favorite game is Spyro's Adventure. I always like the initial. Wouldn't be a stream without a Mountain Dew. Yep. Unfortunately, my Mountain Dew is empty. So that might mean the stream is coming to an end soon. Because I'm also getting hungry. What's a good price for clear shortcut? So chase variants, there's a lot of factors in play here. Is it loose or inbox? That plays a big difference. Chase variants, I feel, fluctuate in price more often than standard figures do. And so whenever I get these in, whenever I put them up for auction and stuff, like, or if I sell them privately, I'm always looking them up to see what their current value is. In general, those clear variants from Trap Team, most recently, I've seen them, well, loose, probably in the 1 to 200 range. Inbox, I'd say you could probably bump that up like 150 to 300. Sometimes a little bit more if they're inbox in mint condition, like really good, really clean. But yeah, it really just kind of depends because, like I said, those fluctuate a lot. When you finish your collection, will you move on to any other? I know for me, the chase is part of the fun. Yeah, I always worry about that, and that's part of the reason why I'm not. Um, I'm okay with it taking a long time, right? Because like I said, the hunt, the chase is part of the fun of collecting, and like if you get everything, what's next? Now I will say the other thing that I am working on right now, I mean, it's still Skylanders related, is my Battlecast set. And that is also going to take me a long time. And that is getting harder and harder by the day too, because those cards just aren't as prevalent um, as the figures and stuff like that. So I I have plenty that I still need to collect, even Skylanders related. Even if I would get all the figures and all the unreleased stuff, which is I think honestly going to take years for me to actually acquire. Um, if for no other reason than just from a price standpoint, right? Like I can't go out and spend $10,000 every month on one figure. So it's gonna take a while to to get that to happen, I think. Um, but yeah, the Battlecast thing is another thing that I'm actively collecting as much as I can, but haven't run across any good lots of Battlecast stuff recently. You should do a giveaway once you complete your collection. Sure, sure. It'll be a while, but yeah. Has anybody acquired the Cloud Patrol arcade machine? Um, I'm sure someone has. I don't know of anybody personally that has one. I don't think. Like I said, Pirate Dad has a manual. Is there anything that you have that Pirate Dad doesn't? Well, I think that's one thing right there. Like I said, we'll talk about that soon. Does the SCL shop ship to South Africa? I think we do. Um, here, if you're ever wondering about countries, this goes for anybody. We do ship to a lot of countries now, but you can check the FAQ on the site, and it's the first question because one we get all the time. Where do you ship? We do indeed ship to South Africa. That is a country we're currently shipped to. It's the only country in Africa we have on our list right now. If you don't see your country on that list, um, then I recommend you reach out to SCL Jillian. She is now in charge of adding countries to that list, if possible. It's not always possible for various reasons. But yeah, we are happy to add countries to the list when we can. So yes, South Africa is on the list though. You should give away his entire collection once it's complete. Oof, no. Since you're in Wisconsin, what's your best cheese and beer combination? That's another question I have never been asked. Um, I mean, if I'm thinking about it, like that's not even necessarily something I combine a lot. I mean, there may be cheese on the food I'm eating while I'm drinking beer, but it's not like, cheese and wine. I don't think about like pairing different cheeses with different beers. Um, yeah, that's an interesting one. I feel like I should have an answer for that though. I'll have to think about that some more. Um, what else do we have here? There's a lot that Matt has. Yeah, the defective Nightfall. Yeah, E3 Spyro I knew. I wasn't sure about the Nightfall. Some prototypes. Oh, you're only at 577. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I'm at 596 now. So there's a few in there. What would you sell for a set of Series 1? I mean, are you talking just like the SSA figures? Clayton, once again, like, what would I sell them for? The prices in my shop. Like that's that's my price. If you're asking like what would I buy them for? I mean, I don't have that number offhand. Like I treat every lot I come across differently because I've had way too many people tell me like, "Oh yeah, I have a complete collection," and it's like complete collection minus the big three. And I'm like that's that's $1,000 right there. Like it makes a big difference there if you're missing three figures. Um, so it's that's part of the reason I always ask for pictures too. And I never as much as I would like to, I can never take people at their word of, "Yeah, I have every figure." You sure about that? You sure about that? You'll do $3,000. I mean, I've paid $3,000 for collections before, but they're usually complete base set plus some chase variants. So I don't know exactly what you have. When's the next Skylanders hunting video gonna drop? I think this next Saturday should be one, I believe. Just need money for golf clubs. Hey, I'm happy to help when I can. Whatever your needs are. Yeah. Have you had any other soft drink other than Mount? Yes, Charlie, I have. I've had many, many other soft drinks. Uh, Still haven't gotten the treat. Didn't we talk about that once? Wasn't I going to send you one? Did I not send you a Tree Rex? You're going to have to remind me with your next whatnot order or something. I'll have to send you a Tree Rex. I should have a few. Clayton, stay tuned for my next road trip video. I'll be talking about that then. We'll have a good explanation for it. You need to collect one of the showcases like the ones that used to be in Toys R Us. Showed like a demo. Yeah. Um, Stay tuned for the next road trip video. We got some exciting stuff coming up. Where do you buy your cheese in bulk? Basically any grocery store in Wisconsin. So this is an interesting fact I've learned as I've traveled across the US. Um, Having a cheese section in a grocery store is kind of a weird thing that really only happens in Wisconsin and kind of the Midwest, but mostly Wisconsin. Like, I've gone to the cheese section in other states, and there's like Kraft singles, maybe a Kraft cheddar cheese, and like one or two other cheeses that might be local or might just be like it's just like no, there's like four options, and I'm like, this is not a cheese section. I should maybe show you at some point the cheese section in a Wisconsin grocery store. Like it's like a full aisle of cheese. Like full aisle. I mean, and that's not like it's like a full aisle of uh block cheese, a full aisle of shredded cheese, a full aisle of other cheese related products, and like you have your string cheese and your cheese spreads and all that other stuff. Like that's like a whole nother section. Like, and that's just what I grew up with. I think other people don't understand how big cheese is here in Wisconsin. Um, yeah, it's you don't have to go far to find bulk cheese in Wisconsin. Max is at 535. That's a feat for sure. I mean, anywhere over like 300 is pretty good. I mean, you start to get into some rare stuff in the 400, 500. Like you have to have some rare figures by that point. You'll be at zero once you sell everything. Yeah. Have you ever been scammed before? Yes. 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 I have unfortunately been scammed. I have run into a couple of um potential scams that I kind of sniffed out and like, this doesn't feel right. We kind of backed out of those deals, but you mentioned the art book in your collection video. Apparently, Riptide has the most design changes before they figured him out. Interesting indeed. Yeah, I have a couple of art books. Those are good stuff for sure. We have talked about it, but my whole Battlecast collection is pack pulled for. Oh, okay. That would explain it. That would explain it. If you ever change your mind, let me know. I got a Tree Rex with your name on it. I had an idea to make 3D printed hats for Skylanders. Rip the meshes from the game. Ooh. That's a thought, N8. Yeah. I have never considered that. I like that thought though. 3D printing the hats from the games and selling them alongside so you could put them on the figures. Like my only concern, I mean, much like in the games, is how would they actually sit on the figures because there's so much going on the heads. Like because we always we've messed around with this before. Like if you put a hat on someone like Rattleshake who is already wearing a hat, like it sometimes removes the hat and then sometimes it doesn't put it back on. It's weird. Um, but yeah, so characters that are already wearing hats or other headgear, putting hats on hats just doesn't like it would almost be just something more for display, I feel. But it could also be a very collectible item. You got my mind racing right now. I need to stop thinking about it because you just sitting here while I sit and think is not that exciting. But that's an opportunity. And if that's something you ever get into, let me know. I'd be curious. I feel like that's something that people might actually get into. Maybe. I don't know. I yeah. I'd be interested in exploring that a little bit. Almost caught up. Maybe. Uh, from New Zealand, have full dedicated cheese section since you're one of the world's big cheese makers. Yep, I would believe that some other countries I think are big in cheese as well. But like here in the US in particular, like I feel no one does it quite like Wisconsin. Does depend where you go, but grocery stores tend to have at least a decently sized block cheese section. Yeah. You see, and now more so than ever, I want to go to, you know, like my local grocery store that I go to most often, and just I'm gonna shoot a video next time I'm there. I think, and just share it with you guys, um, to show you what I'm talking about, and see if you have something similar, or if we outdo you like I think we outdo you. Cheese hunting with Matt, yes. Only missing 10 for the base set. Nice. Do we still have the cheese? Yeah, I absolutely have my cheese head. It's over there, so I can't put it on right now. I'm not gonna put it on right now, but yeah, absolutely. I'm never gonna get rid of that. One, it was a gift, and two, it's a symbol of my football team. So be a fun side quest during a Skylanders hunting video. Cheat. Okay, there you go, Pirate Dad. I might have to work that in. I think we can work that in. I don't necessarily go to a lot of grocery stores while I'm on the road, but if I have a purpose, I might do that. I might do that. Every new Skylander is another bite of cheese. probably not the healthiest choice. Thank you for the parenthetical statement along with that, Pirate Dad. That helps me out a lot. Yeah, please do let me know if you get it going. Do you think you can name every Skylander by heart? Given enough time, yes. If there's any kind of time limit, probably not. But yeah, give me enough time. I think I could get there. Hello from the US. You would just get the Santa hats? Yeah. And see, that's the thing. I think people would do that. They would either just, buy one or two hats that they like or bulk buy a few hats to put on a bunch of things or something along those lines. Yeah. Wonder how many people in this chat have the UFO hat card. You'll be one of them. Ever turn Mr. Rolling Circle stickers into pins? Maybe. I hadn't thought that far ahead, but it that would be a much more expensive endeavor. Like the stickers are still at a place where like I can buy, hundreds of them and not go broke. Pins are more expensive, significantly more expensive than stickers. Um, so I'd have to see. I'd have to see. But it's an option. I gotta finish the sticker sets first. Then we'll see if we want to expand anything past that. Hopefully, you don't need to spend $100 just to see the secret stash of cheese. You can tell you've been watching my videos. I appreciate that reference. Would you ever buy Crocs made of actual cheese? No. No. You do not want that. Just Googled, and apparently there are between 1,800 to 2,000 different types of cheese. Yep. There's a lot. There's a lot. And with that, folks, yes, I finally made it to the bottom of the chat. And I think that is a good time to call it for today. It's been fun. It's been fun, folks. I am thrilled as always that I can just sit down here for 3, 4, 5 hours and have a chat with you. I am beyond grateful that you guys are willing to do this with me and you find it interesting enough. It's always fun. It's always fun. Nobody count. He's always there. Does Mr. Circle get a commission every time their art gets purchased? Artioka, all I'm gonna say is we have worked out a deal and we are both happy with it, and I'll leave it at that. I'm not in I'm not intentionally trying to rip anybody off. But yeah, we have had discussions and we came to an agreement. Would you get a camo figure made of cheese? Maybe. Like the problem is with made of cheese, if it's actual cheese, it's perishable and it's like unless I have a refrigerated case in my office or something, where am I going to keep it? I'm not just going to keep a cheese camo in my fridge for years and years and years. How do you know how much money you spent for all the Skylanders you own? Unfortunately, no. That's a very hard figure to calculate, mostly because yeah, I bought some of my figures early on at retail prices. I bought some, off eBay or Craigslist or something back in the day. But then I started getting figures for free from Activision. Then when I started collecting everything again, just a few years ago, like I started buying, it was when I was buying figures for the shop in bulk lots. And so like when I would buy 100 figures and then I'd say, okay, I'll sell off 99 and keep one for my collection. Like, how much did I actually pay for that figure then? Like, do I just say, okay, I bought 100 figures for $100, so I paid $1 for this? Or do I say, well, I bought 100 figures, I sold off the 99, I made $50 off of them, and so this figure is free? like, how do you calculate that? And so, like, I really just don't know how to say how much I paid for them, and I haven't tracked that. So, yeah. I will definitely enjoy Disney. Thank you very much. Glad to have a stream to interact with while I'm bedridden. Everybody's injured and bedridden and needs mini forklifts and straws and oof. I hope you all feel better soon. I really do. I'm just glad to say like I've gotten sick on a few road trips so like earlier this summer and it was not pleasant. I'm thankful to say that I've been able to stay healthy for the past few months, even while I've been on the road and vacation and such. And I really don't want to get sick on right before I go on vacation. Like that would be miserable. So I hope you all feel better. Thank you for hanging out. Um, and yeah, I will talk to y'all soon. We have a Whatnot Wednesday coming up this Wednesday. That's gonna be my last live stream before vacation. So if you want to come hang out again, Wednesday evening, 8 p.m. Central Time, you can do that. Otherwise, join the Discord. You can do that at any time, and we'll be active over there as well. That's the easiest way to get a hold of me, honestly. So thank you all for everything, and I am out of here. Have a good weekend. Go Pack Go.